What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tomato Sauce Podcast, the podcast for Rich Tomato. We are Rich Tomato. Zach, Shane, myself, Kim. Kim. Every week around this table, we bring a topic each and discuss it among ourselves. This week, Zach, what have you got?
I got the new reveal from Gearbox, their new game Battleborn, and also discussing MOBAs in general, since that game seems to be a MOBA-ish style, and I just thought I'd go further into that topic.
I've got piracy in the gaming industry and some ways that devs have combated it or even helped it.
And I want to talk about pre-order bonuses and how they're taking us hostage. Kind of, not really. But
Gun to the head.
yeah, kind of, stuff like that. So, who wants to go first?
I started first last time.
You start first.
Would you like me to go first?
I would like you to go first.
Okay, sure. So my topic revolves around pre-order bonuses, and more or less recently announced pre-order DLC for Alien Isolation, which is a game I think we're all kind of excited for.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Well, I am
I'm
anyway.
excited for Aliens.
The game is based loosely around the original Alien movie. You play as Ripley's daughter, I believe. Scary game, shit yourself, whatever. But they recently announced DLC for it, pre-order DLC that lets you, that takes place during the original film. So you get to play, you get to choose a selection of the original cast, Ripley, I forget the other people's names.
Ash is definitely the android
What else? One else?
of the ship.
But yeah, the original cast basically.
Yeah, you get to play as a select few from the original cast. I'm not sure if it's all. I think it's at least 3 of them.
Okay.
And you get to play parts of the movie again, from different perspectives.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if exactly. I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same as the movie again.
I don't think it is. I remember them stating that they didn't want you to play
The movie.
because
Yeah,
the
you know
movie's
what's
already
happen.
done that.
Yeah.
So they just want
That's
you to
good.
put you into
Different
a
take on it.
situation from the movie. I think the 2 situations they got are after the first chest burst,
Yes.
so when they were having dinner, and then the alien chest burst,
That's
and
cool.
then
Yeah.
so you play as like the different characters trying to sort of hunt the alien down and figure out what's going on.
I think. Yeah.
And then the second mission is, I believe,
Isn't it Ripley doing the self-destruct sequence?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's where she's the last one left alive,
Yeah.
and you have to try and get off the ship in order to survive.
So that all
the
sounds.
aliens hunting you.
Yeah. So that all sounds well and good. Pre-order DLC is fine, but the thing for me is, I think there was like one of the missions. I can't remember which one, unless it was a new one. Is exclusively to GameStop if you pre-order the game. Sorry, Shannon, for boring you.
Yeah, Jesus.
No, that wasn't your one. That was as in like
I'll
how shitty.
Sure. Well, your top is going to get a lot of those.
Oh, all right, mate. Go on
Susie
then.
stuff.
I didn't yawn.
No, I'm joking.
Go on. Go on.
So like,
Right.
so GameStop in the US is the equivalent to our EB Games here in Australia. They're the same company, more or less. Just obviously branded differently for Australia. The thing is, like, they're making this DLC exclusive to only if you only pre-order from there. Which for me, I think feels kind of like, obviously that makes the player or the customer have to go to GameStop. You can't just order it online. You can't pre-order it online anywhere. You have to go if you want this, which I think for people that are fans of the movie, I feel like would. Like I haven't pre-ordered the game yet, but this tempts me to do it. Like usually when I pre-order a game, it's just to get the game. I don't really.
Because so you don't get those missions if you don't pre-order the game. Is that
I don't
At
think
GameStop.
so. No, like you don't get one of them.
You don't get one of those missions if you don't pre-order the game. So
But
you
I
don't
don't
get either of those.
I don't think
missions
unless
if
you
don't
pre-order.
it at all.
So yeah, if you just bought the game day, you don't get that. I imagine it would come eventually later. Time down the road, you pay $10 or so for it.
Yeah.
But for that exclusive content, you have to go to EB. You have to go to
And
EB.
it comes with the game. rather
Yeah, of
than
course.
having to
It'll
spend-
come as like a little code that you
Yeah, you get a
put in.
download code,
Yeah.
enter it on PSN, Xbox Live,
all that,
Steam,
all that
whatever.
bull.
Yeah, so I think for me, I kind of feel like it's a bit annoying that they you have your full game, cool,
Yeah.
but then they're saying, oh, if you pre-order here, we'll give you extra stuff that we haven't included in the normal version, which you buy later. So it's obviously an incentive to go to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
numbers up.
It's a marketing ploy. That's,
It's always
that's pretty
marketing.
much all it is, and they're taking a gamble here. Like some people are going to hate that, like
I'm not a big fan of it, no.
Obviously, yeah, like such as yourself, you know, you're voicing your opinion against it.
Yeah.
But some people who are already loyal to GameStop or
Sure.
have a GameStop membership will be like, oh fuck yeah, this is awesome. You know, they'll be reveling in it. So it's pretty much just that extra bonus of customer loyalty that they're trying to
I get
put
that,
across. Like that's pretty much all they're doing, and it's. Depending on what side of the fence you're on, it can be seen as fair or unfair.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about perspective, really. It's a tough call to make when like you are releasing a game and you want to do those pre-order bonuses or DLC and stuff. You want to go like, okay, so maybe if you pre-order from this shop, you'll get this specific gun, but if you pre-order from this space, you get this specific armor and all that bullshit. You know, it creates that. It creates those little gangs of people who are like, oh, I want this gun, or I want this armor, and then, you know, you got those rivalries going on, and
It's kind of
it ends up segregating the market a little bit.
I was about to bring that up. I mean, like, I know it's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest marketing games, Destiny, does pre-order stuff and content, like console or platform exclusive,
they got that PS4
exclusive content for
exactly.
Well, the beta's only exclusive for 4 days, and then it's for everyone. But,
Okay.
Did you see like the PS4 exclusive missions are exclusive for a year? Did you see that?
Yes.
Wow. Which so that's completely like
Never tying content.
Why? Well, fuck you, Microsoft. You can't get this up for a whole year, and that's like even if you get the season pass or I forget what it's actually called in the collector's edition or whatever, but like there's a season pass for Destiny. Even if you get that, you're still not getting this stuff until a year later.
That's ridiculous.
I don't even know if that's going to be included in the season pass. So it's I don't know, like pre-order DLC. Like I pre-order games. I will admit I pre-order games, but as I said before, I don't pre-order it like going, oh, EB has this. I just pre-order it at EB just because I have that membership. I'm not bothered by if there's free stuff. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
But I think like for any other normal person, like if you didn't really pay attention to this, like you're like, oh, why has my friend got this? Why don't I have? We paid for the same price for the game. We paid the same price for this game.
Exactly.
Why does he have the Ripley DLC and I don't have any of it?
Why is he special and I'm not special?
Sure.
Well, I mean, it's
essentially
pretty
kind of
much
like
how
that.
I feel, yeah.
I just don't think it's it's a good business for like GameStop, for Creative Assembly, making the game, and Sega. It works for them.
Yeah.
They'll probably get a bit of extra money for it. But like for the consumer, I don't think it's necessarily fair that some of the stuff will only go to certain people.
Yeah.
I assume it's going to be timed. I don't see this not coming out for everyone eventually. But that exclusivity, like, oh, you were willing to come in and say, can I pre-order this game, put $10 down, and you get this DLC. Well, like, if someone that can't won't get to play this and missing out on some content that the developers are still making, obviously making content after the game's been shipped. Obviously, they're still looking at other DLCs and things like that. But I don't know, just like
think about.
I think it's not very. It's just a bit unfair, I guess.
Yeah, the thing about pre-ordering is that it was never really pre-ordering and content locking over time was never really something that was meant for consumers. It was always meant for developers or the people who were distributing it.
Yeah,
like pre-orders are basically confirmations on sales. They use pre-order sales and pre-order metrics to determine how many will actually sell and release, and what to prepare for in terms of marketing and in like distribution and
infrastructure
exactly
and all that stuff.
Because if you don't have any data like that, other than the Q&A testing, then you don't really know how your game's going to sell, and you might over market and spend too much money on that and not make that back in sales and stuff like that. So it's really like a little like a market probe for developers.
Poking the market and going like, hey, what do you think of this?
Exactly. But it doesn't actually benefit the consumer at all. Like in most cases, if you pre-order, it's going to be there on release anyway. The only reason that people will pre-order now is to actually get that extra content.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why people the developers are actually adding that extra content, because people wouldn't pre-order otherwise. And people would just buy it online otherwise, because people are doing that now. It's the only way that they're going to stay relevant. Pre-orders are going to stay relevant, and GameStop and companies like that are going to stay relevant by having exclusive content.
Yeah, exactly.
Once I think going on that time's like GameStop surviving, once everything goes fully digital, I think GameStop will fall out really. Like not many, unless they obviously people are still willing to pay these for collector's editions and.
There'll still be people who want physical versions of games.
Oh, like I understand. Like, I for one point, I feel like at one point I want to move to digital.
Yeah.
I think because I mean, my game collection's not as big as it used to because I've traded in games and stuff like that. But like to have full digital, I mean, no clutter, nothing like that.
Yeah. No discs and
no discs.
to worry about.
Another thing, like something I maybe should be as proud of. I trade in games to buy new games, and like so that's one thing. Once you pay for a digital game, you realistically can't get rid of it. Trade it in, you can't get something back for it. So there's a trade off. Like that's what obviously GameStop more or less survive on, or EB as well survive on, is trading in stuff as well as obviously
which hurts developers.
Yeah, it does hurt developers. I think when you buy pre-owned, that hurts developers because none of that money goes to
developers at all. It just goes back
straight to EB or whatever. Yeah. So like I think a full digital future is kind of off topic, but still interesting enough. But like I think a full digital future is
the way to go.
It's I think it will soon
happen. Yeah.
I mean, you already see like
you already see an estimate on how long away you reckon?
I think within the next
decade.
Yeah, I was going to say within the next 5 to 10 years. I think full digital will be a thing.
Yeah.
It was. I think it, like you already see now, like on PlayStation and probably I'm not sure if Xbox has preloading, but like obviously Steam has preloading. You pay early, install the game when it releases at 12 a.m.
You can play it straight away.
Yeah, but like PlayStation's also doing that, preloading, pre-ordering games online. So full digital future, I think, is a thing that will happen.
Yeah,
it should happen. I think it should happen.
I think what will end up happening is that GameStop and that will just refuse to change and realize that it's not going to be physical any longer in terms of large scale stuff. I mean,
unless GameStop become like so unless GameStop become an online, you pre-order on there, and you still get all the DLC stuff.
Yeah, and
I think like the physical store. I think the physical store of EB and GameStop will slowly fade away. Like I guess the perfect example is Amazon in America. There's no shops for Amazon. There's just an online retailer. So I think if EB becomes an online retailer, I think that would be better.
That could work, yeah. Either that.
And people lose their jobs then, I guess, but I guess it's not very good. But like, I mean, I think at one point physical copies of games are going to go. I mean, I guess you could still get physical copies sent to you, but I mean, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like shops like Oz Game Shop and stuff like that, which is like a UK run company, which is basically just like sends you a game. Sends you your game that you buy. It's basically EB without the bullshit.
Yeah. I kind of wish we had like an Australian version of. I mean, you can buy stuff like EB, but you can't buy digital versions of things like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
so EB is basically our GameStop.
Yeah, EB is GameStop more or less in every sense of the thing. Like GameStop, EB is just the Australian division of GameStop. So
yeah, I really think that GameStop and all those sort of companies are just leeches on the industry. Really, I mean,
sometimes like I'd admit sometimes like I don't really care about the pre-order bonuses, but I'm a sucker for a cool collector's edition.
Yeah.
Like,
but there's nothing stopping developers from actually shipping those out individually to people. Like they don't have to go through a middleman. I don't think that.
Yeah, once the middleman's gone, once full digital's a thing.
Yeah. The middleman's
gone.
Yeah, middleman's gone.
Yeah.
All the money goes straight to the publisher.
Yeah.
Games could possibly cost less.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like
you'd certainly hope so.
But you sacrifice a few things for it. You wouldn't be able to trade things in.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to trade things in, but hoping at that time we all have disposable income, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to think about it like that. Hopefully, I'll be earning more by then, which means
exactly. I mean, like it doesn't that fact that buying a game isn't as like now for me, I trade in games. Like, if I trade in this, I can get this for cheaper. I save this much money.
Yeah.
But the disposable income, like, I'll buy this new, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But so to come back around to pre-orders, pre-orders bonuses are a thing. I guess I'm not happy that stuff like that happens. It excludes a certain amount of people. It could just like cause I wasn't ever planning on pre-ordering the game, but I would love to play the Ripley deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know now.
Got to pre-order that shit, man.
You got to think that all these different distribution companies would have to pay a lot to the actual developers.
Oh, sure.
To actually get those.
If that's an exclusive to GameStop, they've paying heaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to get return on that.
They got to get their fair share of the market going to.
Another thing quickly, I don't know if you saw. I can't remember where I read a Polygon or Kotaku or something like that. Great websites to go look at. Someone was saying GameStop want to get more involved in game development. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, I did see that actually. It was I passed.
Yeah, I briefly read it. But it was saying GameStop want to be more involved in the development of games for pre-order stuff. So they want to go help, say Bungie, say, oh, make this for us. We'll help you make this for us. I was just like, don't let GameStop do that, or EB, or Best Buy, or whatever. Don't let the middleman influence the first party to go.
You already have publishers which are trying to get their money out of it.
So I don't know. I don't want that to happen.
No.
Full digital future can't come sooner.
Yeah.
Until I get a job, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
So that's my topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's good. Good discussion.
Good discussion. Yeah. Cool. So who wants to go next? Zach?
Yeah, I'll head on next.
Sure.
All right. So Gearbox announced recently. I think it was last week, or was it this week?
Earlier this week.
Earlier this week, they announced their new next-gen exclusive title, Battleborn. And essentially, they've released a teaser trailer for it, all CGI. There's no gameplay in there or anything like that. And they've also got a website up and running, and I believe Game Informer is doing they're doing their next issue all about Battleborn. So if you want to learn more about it, head to Game Informer and read up on their articles. But yeah, so essentially this game pits people against a whole wave of enemies that are sort of putting a planet on the brink of destruction, I believe, something along those lines, where some kind of universal problem is occurring and the players have to set it right, you know, that old chestnut. So essentially it's another planet far off in space. You have another myriad of heroes that you can pick from and play as, and what I believe the gameplay is like, it's first-person shooter, but it's the co-op. They've got both cooperative play and competitive play against with your friends. Sure. So the cooperative play, I believe, will be defending or attacking waves of enemies, right? Kind of, you know, you got like your Left 4 Dead style and all that sort of stuff. And then the competitive play, battling against your friends, I believe, is coming more into the MOBA side of things. So you have a bunch of heroes that all have their own unique abilities and passives and all that stuff. And you got the enemies which are coming out as sort of creeps. You got your both teams sort of fighting over structures around the area. Yep. And you end up trying to kill one team's structure, right? So they're trying to push they're trying to head into the MOBA genre with a first-person spin. Yeah. And they're also throwing in like looting mechanics and whatnot, just the old Borderlands flair of you got to have your loot and your specific guns and whatnot. So for those of you who don't know what MOBA stands for, it's the multiplayer online battle arena. Essentially, it's the more popular type of MOBAs are like League of Legends, you've most likely heard of, Dota 2.
And how would you describe the MOBA as a genre?
It's very RTS-like, so it's top-down. Top-down kind of thing. You've got the whole map available to you that you can see, but it's got this sort of fog of war kind of mechanic, so you can't really you can't see anything that's outside your hero's vision cone. Yep. And your other teammates' vision cone, and it's basically one giant arena with a bunch of approach points, 2 structures at either end, and a bunch of enemies that are, you know, creeps that are sort of, you know, going around the outside that you can kill for experience and points and whatnot.
So imagine playing Age of Empires with just one unit. That's how fun it sounds to me.
That's what Shane thinks of the MOBA. Yeah. So essentially, it seems like Gearbox are trying to throw themselves into the foray of MOBAs on the market and trying to make their own little.
You can't place buildings.
Oh yeah, you can't place buildings. So it's an RTS without the building placement and the armies. You just got the one unit that you upgrade and you kill other people's one unit, and you try and kill their structures as well. kind of fast paced. A lot of the MOBAs are, and the barrier of entry is quite. No, I'd say it's quite high, especially with games like Dota 2.
What's quite high, sorry?
The barrier of entry into these games. I mean, like, if you just throw yourself into a game, you're going to get completely you're going to just get destroyed by the other team, who obviously
playing a lot.
Yeah, they've been playing a while, or I mean, sometimes they put you into rankings where you'll just be playing against other noobs like yourself, but still, like, people get pissed off with you because you don't know how the game is played and you don't know what the priorities are. So unless you do your research and you go into the game knowing what it's all about and what to do, then you're just going to get slammed.
I mean, it is, relatively high, but then if you compare it to something like an RTS, then it would be like, a stepping stone. So it's I mean, it looks high to begin with because you do your research and that sort of stuff. But then when you look at, I don't know, Dota versus StarCraft, there's the barrier of entry for those two.
Yeah, StarCraft is quite a bit up there. So yeah, it seems like everyone seems to be trying to get a slice of the MOBA pie. If you know what I mean. There's a lot of developers out there that are trying to stick their foot in the door and capitalize on this growing genre. So like League of Legends has millions upon millions of people playing.
One of the most popular games.
One of the most popular games in the world, and it has televised TV tournaments.
It's an esport.
Yeah, it's a huge esport, one of the biggest, and there's a lot of money that goes into that game and comes out of that game.
Yeah, there's big prize money for the teams.
Huge prize
money.
money. Same thing with Dota 2 as well.
How much did Valve raise for Dota 2? Was it 11 million?
Yeah, in the millions for sure.
Yeah, so basically people paid for viewing passes to watch the tournaments, and that money went towards the prize pool, and they raised something like 14 million from everyone who wanted to watch the tournament. It's crazy.
So here at Gearbox trying to get their little game into the market, but I think that it's starting to get to the point where there's
oversaturation.
Exactly. The market's beginning to become saturated with all these developers trying to make their own little MOBA and trying to get a slice of the pie. It's starting to get saturated.
It's one of the quickest saturated markets genres in the game industry, I think.
Yeah.
Within the space of 6 months, there was about 7 or 8 games out that were all getting their own slice of the pie in some respects.
Yeah.
And that was just crazy to me. Just like it's such a big, overwhelming, like, what the fuck is this? All of a sudden.
And all of a sudden, this MOBA just started sprouting out of the ground.
What's LOL?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I think from such a rapid increase in popularity and player base, I believe there will also be a rapid decline at some stage.
Yeah.
Due to a lot of saturation in the market, I think that there's going to be a point where people start going, well, can I get something new here? And we'll start to, like, the same thing happened with the MMORPG genre. You had basically it all just shot up with World of Warcraft, and everyone started playing that game. Everyone started talking about that game. And then due to that game, it started giving rise to more and more MMOs. You saw them just start populating the market. Guild Wars,
Star Wars.
Well, actually, Guild Wars came before World of Warcraft.
But like the popularity of
Guild Wars won.
Guild Wars, the first Guild Wars. Yes,
Yeah.
like, I mean, the popularity of things have shot.
Oh yeah.
And Guild Wars 2 came out,
And
Star Wars.
Age of Conan, Star Wars, blah, 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 they're all just like thrown out there.
Age of Conan.
Secret World, Age of Conan was.
One of the worst performing ones.
I did play it for a little while.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I won't go into that. But yeah, so I think we're going to see something what happened to the MMO happened to the MOBAs. Like MMO performed very strongly throughout the years. Probably about the time period of 2008 to 2009, I'd say, was like the peak of MMO.
Yeah,
it's like because World of Warcraft released 2006, and 2006, or maybe 2004.
I think in 2004.
Maybe it was 2004.
Well,
maybe Burning Crusade came out 2006. Anyway, but I think like as the popularity of World of Warcraft rose, between those years of like 2004 to 2008 probably would be
the most popular use.
The peak of the MMO, and now it's just starting to decline because so many people are going like, oh, MMOs, oh, we've had enough of those, you know, like, get out of here because MMOs are shit, because all you do is do this, and this. People are starting to realise what the MMOs are all about.
To the MMOs credit, it took about, 10 years for that to happen?
Yeah.
It was a pretty big cycle.
Yeah,
like, I mean, this WoW is still being played by millions of people.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's obviously decreasing in
it's
popularity.
It's declined a fair amount,
from what
and
it used to be.
you know, there's getting to that point where people are just like not even bothering with any MMO whatsoever because they know that they're all just the same in that respect.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's true.
And they're just starting to get tired of it because there's no real innovation going on within the genre.
Yeah.
It's all just pumping out the same stuff. And I think it's going to happen with the MOBA. It's going to be a very similar thing. Like, sure, maybe League of Legends and Dota are going to still be the top dog, but everything else, every other game, if you're a developer going in and trying to go, oh yeah, we'll make a MOBA game because MOBAs are great and everyone loves MOBAs and we'll make a killing off it, you throw yourself into the market, you're just going to get destroyed.
Think about the MOBA market or any sort of like, trending market in video games as like global warming. Basically, think of like the biggest games out there that are the most established as, tall mountains. When you're throwing yourself out there as a developer, you're basically like fucking an island community. Like you're going to go under first if the whole thing starts to sink.
I was wondering where this global warming.
Yeah, my analogy's pretty good. But no, basically, if the ones that are most rooted and most established, then they're not going to budge as soon as you are.
I think we're saying like MMO and the RPG and in MOBAs will, like, there will be the big dogs, but there won't be other room. I think things like
Battleborn.
It's a stupid name. It's a stupid name. It's like generic. Battleborn. Like, whatever.
Modern warfare.
Going from the name, I mean, like, I think Battleborn and for MMOs, Destiny, they're obviously combining two popular things like first-person shooters and MMOs or MOBAs. Yeah. So I think Battleborn might do okay. I don't think it will sustain itself.
Yeah,
I see.
I mean, it's yet to be seen. Like,
we don't know.
We don't know. It's like,
exactly. If it's
from what we've already been given in terms of an information chunk, it doesn't really sound like something that could sustain itself for.
Sure. This is how I picture something that could work. Gears of War Horde mode, except you play against other players along with the Horde.
Well, that's just like team deathmatch and things like another person.
Essentially, but you're also
but
fighting
you also
hordes.
have like the AI, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what other game has done that?
I feel like a game's probably done that already.
There are plenty of games that have done team fights, but with AI.
AI bots like
Killzone. Titanfall.
Yeah, true.
It's like the first person version.
Yeah.
You got your AI in there. You got the other players running around.
So what, like Titanfall with lanes?
Yeah.
Is it going to use a lane system?
That's like pretty much it.
Wow. Yeah.
Is it
no,
using
I'm
a
not
lane system? Like, have they said like specifically it's going to use like?
No, they haven't said anything about it. They keep like the only information that they've released is the sort of narrative behind the game, the planet situation, and the unstoppable force of an enemy.
Yep.
And the roster of fighters that you have, ability to choose from.
Okay.
And seemingly the type of game that they're going for, which is, they call it I believe they said it was like a hero shooter. So you pick your hero, and then it's a first-person shooter. Each of them have their own different.
So they said exclusively that it was a first-person shooter.
Yeah. It's going to be a first-person shooter.
The main thing for it, I guess, is being a first-person shooter.
And then you fight. You either cooperatively fight enemies with your friends, or you competitively fight your friends with the enemies. And I believe that competitive play will be quite MOBA-like in terms of like they'll want to try and push that as a sort of really competitive, possible e-sport situation. I don't know how far they're going to try and delve into it, but if they want to make it successful, like that's pretty much what they're going to have to do.
Have they set a release date for this?
I believe it was 2015.
Okay, makes sense. Sure.
Some of these games that are coming out like that try and capitalize on a trend by copying mechanics, like actually, try and subscribe to a MOBA playstyle, like copying over lanes and putting it in the game, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of games do that, just like copy a popular mechanic and put it in their game where it just doesn't work in the context, you know. And I wonder if this is going to be another one.
Quite possibly.
So I feel like, without knowing too much about it, it's essentially because Borderlands. I feel like Gearbox makes Borderlands, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like Borderlands in a MOBA.
Yeah.
Because like Borderlands, if you don't know, like has 4 different unique characters with their own somewhat abilities and stuff like that. It's not very broad. They have their own skills and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like they just put that in a MOBA-esque.
Yeah, I feel like they did borrow a lot of things from Borderlands, from what they already have their experience in. They've crafted another planet in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
Is it the same art style?
I wouldn't think so.
It does actually look kind of cartoony. It's not got the cell shaded look.
Sure.
It does still look quite cartoony though. So they're not going for that realism, that gritty realism that a lot of developers do try and go for.
Gearbox is.
But like gritty realism just would not work in a MOBA.
Could it just be
genre
everywhere?
Yeah,
it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, like a MOBA is supposed to be filled with
fantasy,
action and craziness and all sorts of stuff that's not going to work in a realistic.
Do you remember when the first Borderlands trailer came out and it was all realistic?
Yeah. They tried to. They were going for that realistic.
They were going for full realism.
Yeah, and probably a really, really good idea that they changed that.
Oh yeah, that was actually fairly late in the development. They decided to change.
Was it just a trailer, just a?
It was just like a generic
teaser. What the first trailer that they released was just a teaser, wasn't it?
It's just a teaser, like a cinematic teaser.
Yeah.
But it was actually in like realistic rendering.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they changed all that. But yeah, so what to take away from that? Gearbox has Battleborn now, their newest game, competitive, cooperative, first-person shooter with seemingly MOBA-like tactics and scenarios. And whether or not it's going to survive within the MOBA market is a story that only time will tell.
Isn't there some smart guys in Gearbox? They might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, sure.
Rainy Pitchford.
Rainy Pitchford's got his money on the board.
Yeah, but it is the MMO market. So I mean the MOBA market. Moment.
Oh,
Hashtag moment from last week.
Please don't.
No one did that.
With that great segue.
No one did that. No one did that.
With that great segue, great hashtag, we move on to my topic. Take it
Shane,
away,
what is...
me. Okay. Okay. So. Fuck you guys! I didn't even yawn. Okay.
So
Anyway.
you say.
I'm going to try and keep this as clear as possible since I've got a little bit of a cold and blocked nose, so see how legible you guys can actually hear it. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about was basically, don't give me that, it was piracy in the video game industry. Stop it. And piracy in general is such a big topic that I couldn't hope to cover all of it in my little 20-minute thing here. But I wanted to cover a few ways that devs are actually counteracting it and a few approaches to it in terms of like a developer, standpoint and how effective they would be. And also having a look at it in like a gamer context, like what are these things, do they actually impact my experience and stuff like that. So basically piracy, you know what piracy is. Basically it's just like, you're taking something for free off the internet. Stealing. But then
steal a car.
But then there's also arguments.
Or would you?
Or would you? But then there's also arguments against it, saying, that wouldn't affect sales anyway, since it's just people getting other copies from.
And since a lot of people say it's only a small minority of people that do actually pirate the game, and most
that might have been true a few years ago.
Don't really know how to pirate anything.
Yeah.
Really. As in the majority of the market don't really know how to pirate.
Yeah.
But that is changing. More people are becoming tech savvy.
Yeah.
And it's becoming easier to do it as well.
So much easier.
Click this, drag it here. Okay.
Yeah.
You have game.
As the internet speeds and file hosting servers get more immunity, and they get faster, it's just going to keep happening. It's not a thing you can wish away because it's so much easier than actually going to somewhere and stealing something. You're doing it from home with no hope of persecution. So basically, a few ways that devs have combated it is things like what Ubisoft do with Uplay and stuff like that. You've got to sign in and activate your game, DRM, vac securing and shit like that on Steam, and unless that's, I think that's actually anti-hacking, not anti-piracy.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But they have DRM methods on Steam and stuff like that, which is just basically blocking you if you don't have a legit product, and that you can do that. Very easily in online games, since you need a connection to connect to it. You'd always send your client info out to a server.
It would check.
You can check for that every second if you want, and ban them every second, and they can't really come up with a solution to that. So online games you can't really pirate unless they're very, very, very old and you can run a private server, which is the case with stuff like WoW, I think, with a few things like that, and a few other MMOs which are just
plenty of private servers around the place.
Yeah. So basically, for online games, piracy, is tough to do. So they're fairly immune, which is why a lot of games, if you've been keeping it ahead of trends, have been transitioning to very online presences.
Yeah, they got that seamless online integration.
Many games
if you
have
want
online.
The full experience, you'd want to be online rather than not.
Yeah, exactly. And then so stuff like Destiny and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just like an indication of
would be a fairly boring game
without online,
by yourself, without friends, without being online.
Yeah, exactly.
It would definitely be fairly boring.
Yeah, so online games are basically very hard to target for pirates, but it's the single-player offline games which are certainly the brunt of the market in terms of piracy. Yeah. Sure. And games like I want to give.
Shane, what games have you pirated lately?
Well, it brings out a list. He's like,
I don't pirate. There's no piracy here.
You can see the truth in his eyes when he said that.
I feel like we can all admit, I can say I've pirated a game or two.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
I can't say that I'm not clean from it.
Before the cops burst through the door and just
exactly. This is going to be used against us in a court of law, so you guys...
What is this?
I
don't condone this behaviour. I wasn't...
No.
Pirating is detrimental to the industry, and there's no doubt about it. You're taking away revenue and profit from the people that spend all that money to bring you an experience that you will enjoy.
Yeah, I know, but that's us talking as developers, where we have that sort of understanding, and most people would also have that understanding. Yeah, but it's just you can't really preach the choir. You can't really tell pirates that this is bad because you can't really expect them to care. Yeah. So what developers do, a developer that I played a game of recently, Greenheart Games, they made Game Dev Tycoon. So basically what they did is they actually uploaded their own version of the game to Pirate Bay themselves, and they seeded it. So basically, they put their own game up there for free for people to torrent. But this version of the game, if you made it past a certain point, a certain threshold, basically what you got to do is make games and then sell them. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like a little game like that, and it's pretty self-explanatory. After a certain threshold, if you start making a certain amount of money and you're sort of off the ground in terms of selling games in this game, basically you get sales reports and they'll start diminishing, and little messages saying, "Oh, your sales have been affected by piracy, sad face," and stuff like that. And then this will keep going, and it will have diminishing returns in the fact that you'll start losing money to the point you'll actually shut down as a company. And then after that happens, it will go to a little screen saying, we understand there's different reasons for people to pirate, but if you have the money, or if you enjoyed the game at all,
if you have the heart,
please consider the green heart. Please consider buying this game, and then you could just hide that message, and then no other detrimental effects would happen to the game after that. And that is the perfect way to go about it. Yeah, you're relating to gamers empathetically, and actually showing them what the effect is. So, this is shit. Why is this happening to me? Oh my god, they're pirating my game. Wait, what did I just do? It's showing by example, and I think that's the best way to combat piracy, to appeal to empathy. Because even if they don't have the money, they're like, oh, I respect that they were trying to do this, and I did actually like the game. When I get the money, I'm going to sling a few bucks. And I think another step on top of that is to not only sell your game for a marketed price, but also have a donation box on your site, so pirates who get that message can contribute how much they want.
Exactly. That's what I believe is is a good future for gaming is the whole donation idea, where like people may not necessarily need to spend money in order to get a game from a particular developer, but if you like the game, if you enjoyed what they gave you, then you have the option of giving them a certain amount of money that you feel like they deserve for the experience that they gave you. That's what I feel like is a great system that should be implemented a lot more often with people. A lot of mobile developers are starting to sort of get on that bandwagon. More indie mobile developers rather than the big guys who have all the microtransactions and the in-app purchases. They got all that. They don't need that. But yeah, a lot of the indie guys have a little donation box on the bottom saying, you know, if you like this game, if you enjoy it, maybe sing a couple dollars my way, help me out a little bit, help me give some more updates. Yeah, exactly. You know, we should definitely put that in a
so I definitely I hate saying condone because it sounds so close to condemn that I get mixed up, and I think other people get mixed up, so I don't like to use it. But I do encourage that sort of behavior. I think that's a very smart thing to do. But if you end up doing that, don't mark it as a donation box, because you can be marked as fraud, because you're not a charity. You actually have to say contributions or something, not donate. You can get in trouble.
Sure.
But that's basically the point I'm trying to make. Just like other ways of combating piracy that isn't blocking them out, because they're just going to find a way around it.
Yeah, I was going to say, piracy won't go away anytime soon.
No,
it can't.
It's
just
not,
too hard.
It's not going to go. Like, it's too hard to police. You can't literally sit there.
Arrest because the majority of the world will be under arrest.
Yeah.
Australia is one of the most highest rated pirated countries in the world.
Queensland, where we are.
Australia,
Queensland, Australia. Where we are right now is the top rated.
Is it really?
Area in the world that downloads Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, the TV show, right here is where it's torrented the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew Australia was high at Game of Thrones, but I didn't know that.
But you got to think about it like this: Queensland's one of the most populated states in Australia, and they're also one of the. And I'd say that they're. I thought they were also most populated.
We have like one of the most land, but I don't think we have the
So we're one of the most populated in Australia, but also the land which is perpetually screwed over by anything trying to sell us digital media, and even physical media. Like, we're just marked up so much, so that's
movies we get here months later.
Australia tax,
TV shows like say Game of Thrones. Unless you have pay TV, you can't get like Netflix shows. You can't get that anywhere.
You can't buy a HBO account or anything like that, like to watch it on their site. Like, that's a thing you can do.
Sure. There's ways around that.
There's like, if you want to watch a show like Game of Thrones or anything on HBO, you have to buy All-Star or Foxtel, and then you have to buy the specific channel package,
it's true.
Which contains those channels.
You'd be spending about $500 before you can watch the show you want to watch.
And
so no,
is it worth it? Well,
that's why everyone
download free.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
or stream it online. You know, or sure, you suffer in quality, but at least you still get to watch.
That's another thing. Like, people that, as well as torrenting, like the uploading the streams for it as well as bad, I guess, of torrent thing, because
and they just flip the
image around, the logos around and stuff. They bypass it somehow. But I mean, like, I think with games, I don't. It's like with the single player games. I'm gonna say I've torrented a couple of games.
Yeah.
We've all done it, but I mean, like, and saying that, I've torrented games to test it to see if I like it or not.
Yeah, with the possible,
with mostly like with
buying it.
That's like 75% of the time I torrent a game, I bought it.
Yeah,
like there was.
It's like having a little demo of the game that you'd want to play. I mean, sure, like if you complete the game in the torrent.
No, but like usually, like when you get a torrent game, I think some more times than not, it's broken. It doesn't work completely well.
Yeah.
So if you bought a proper version, it obviously... my perfect example is Batman Arkham Origins on PC. I torrented that when it came out. You can arrest me, okay. Don't actually arrest me. I torrented that and played like 20 to or 40 minutes of the game. And then it broke.
Yeah.
It completely broke. So I was like, I enjoy Batman games, as I said last week. But I was like, I can't play this. So I ended up buying it. Not straight away, I'll say. I didn't buy it straight away. I eventually bought it on a Steam sale. So it was cheap.
Yeah.
But I bought it. I love that game. It worked fine on my PC. No problems. Because it was a legit version.
Yeah.
I think that's like throwing games is like some people do it to like.
The
I don't think anyone has a bad,
malicious.
They have no malicious intent, but I want to rob these people. Like it's like it's like as simply as I can't afford to buy this game, but I really wanted to play it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can't. Yeah, as I was saying, you can't police it very well at all. Really.
Or I have a limited income, so whatever I spend on entertainment, I want it to be worth it. So if I'm gonna buy this, I want to check it out first.
Yeah,
there's
I
no
want to
demo.
make sure that I'm not going to waste my money on a product that I hate.
There's no demos out for it. There's no way for me to try it. So I'm just going to torrent it and then buy it later.
That's the other thing. It's like demos of video games. Have you seen many of those around?
No,
like they used to be extremely.
Everywhere.
Yeah, like
it's not very common. Like there's some demos for some games, like PlayStation. There was like a demo for FIFA.
Yeah, but like
it's
there used to be a demo for like every game that was coming out.
Like
you go on the store and there'd be a demo that you could download, give it a little go, and you're like,
demo discs.
This is really cool. Demo discs like from PlayStation Magazine and all that
PC
stuff.
Gamer.
Throw it in, you get like a fucking myriad of demos that you can try out.
5 to 15 minutes of some type of gameplay.
Yeah,
You have to get the understanding.
And like completely free, you get to try out a whole bunch of games, and if you like one in particular, you can go ahead and buy it when it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
like, but do we see that much these
no,
days?
you just don't.
Do you know why?
Do you have an explanation why?
Yeah, because demos can't actually be used to contribute to the final build. They're usually things that are made near the release of a game.
Yeah, which are different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in that part of this development stage, you know, if you've got something to show, it's usually going to be buggy. And you've got to have workarounds which you can't really contribute to the final build. So basically what you're doing is that development is going in a straight line. You've got to make a build here.
Demos like out here.
Yeah, you've got to make a build. So there's two builds that are going at the same time. Half your workforce or whatever have to be put onto the demo. So you might just be, you know, splitting your team in half at a critical stage in development just to make something that people can play for like 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not financially viable to do it. Even though it did happen back in those days. I don't know how it happened. But
I think it probably would have happened because developing those types of games would have been like easier in terms of the
ability to put out a demo.
Yeah, like in terms of development, being able to...
I just think the stakes are higher these days.
Like there's so much more money being put into video games.
And games
you can't really take that gamble on
you can't take
having
the gamble.
to throw out half the team to work on a 15-minute demo.
And it's not like demos don't. It's not like demos don't happen anymore. It's just that they're confined to game shows. They're confined to E3 and stuff.
Yeah.
The same plight happens there, where they've got to make a special E3 demo,
and you just watch other people play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You can still observe the gameplay.
So, I mean, I understand even from a player's perspective that demos are, you know, something that you really want to try before you buy, and it's very. It's a very positive thing if you actually get a demo and, you know, decide to buy the game because of it. But demos are very, very hard to make at the stage that you make them because they're right at the end of the run where you're just about to release the game, but there's so many bugs. And so you have two builds going at the same time which go in opposite directions. You've got to split half your team at a very critical stage of development.
Yeah.
So it's really a very big gamble, which a lot of game developers very understandably don't take.
Yeah, they just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I think, didn't there used to be like demos of games where they would literally just like take a chunk out of the game and
on a time.
Yeah, like the first level or something.
Cut
like
a couple of features, like say
Yeah.
like, you just can't access those features, and then cut it off at a certain point in the story or in the time.
I remember that.
Just say like, if you like, that's the end of the demo. It's right there.
Thanks
After you
for
beat a
playing
boss right there, that's the end.
Game's coming out this month.
And yeah, you can play it later on and continue from where you left off.
Yeah, that seems pretty easy to do, but I guess that development is just different these days.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's how they used to do it quite a lot. In
I just find it surprising. Like we're saying, the development goes right to the end. I just find it surprising. Something like you hear games go gold with like weeks from the release date. So that's crazy that a game can go gold just that close,
just before,
like the window. Like you think you'd be going gold at least 2 months. Or something like that. I don't know.
Just like work on marketing and
I guess game development's changed where like you're pushing everything right to that day. And then like we were saying with the earlier topic, like with DLC stuff, like teams still keep working on the game and stuff like that. So
and you mean gold as in gold build?
Gold build, yeah.
So gold build is basically
final build for sale.
Final build for sale.
Build for sale. Like, I just find it so
I'm
mind-boggling.
I'm pretty sure GTA 5 went gold like a week or two before its release.
That sounds crazy. Like. How can you go that long?
How can you cut it that close?
Yeah, exactly. Like the game's coming out in a week, guys. We're miles.
We ready?
Off. How many late nights was that? How many?
Oh man,
that's gotta be
they
crazy.
would have been working.
Teams of like hundreds are like getting a game gold.
Yeah.
A week from release. That's crazy. Like, I mean,
it's just the situation where you have to be sponsored by a very voracious publisher, where they want it as soon as possible because they're spending all this on you, and you know, asking for extensions and stuff like that is just out of the question.
Yeah,
because they've supported you up to this point.
They put up a deadline.
Yeah, exactly, and you can't do anything about that. If you don't make that deadline, you're cut.
Yeah,
basically, you get nothing.
Everything you've done is just thrown in the garbage.
Yeah,
which you don't want that happening.
Don't want that happening for anyone. No.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a very big tangent from piracy. But I liked the discussion.
It was good though. It's kind of
piracy is bad.
Yeah, but there are ways to go around it to make you not look like a dickhead. So take those ways. Rewind the tape. Listen to what I said.
Cool.
Hashtag Shane was right. New hashtag this week.
Okay, so that's this week's Tomato Sauce podcast.
Hashtag Shane does not pirate.
Stop
FBI.
Don't do hashtags.
Who pirates here? You said you don't pirate? Yes, right. Oh, I can't go. Yeah.
So yeah, that was this week's episode of Tomato Sauce Podcast.
Have you enjoyed it?
Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, each week we come around this table, topic each. Remember, you can choose a topic at the start of the episode. Out of order, you can watch them any way you want.
Maybe even if there's something in particular that you would like us to discuss, throw some
Throw that in
comments
the
out
comments.
there and you know, just
follow us
some
on Twitter.
topics our way.
And
we'll start bringing them to the table and discussing them. And
Yeah.
I would love to, like, if we had commenters, which we don't have, but I'd love commenters to pitch us like a topic, and then we could vote on which one was best.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
years down the road.
when we get commenters, when
so,
you the people start.
Remember, so every week, 3 of us talk about games and stuff.
Yeah.
We're hoping at one point maybe not to talk about games.
We'll start to deviate a little bit
into the popular entertainment.
Yeah,
possibly
other mediums.
Yeah,
films that are piqued our interest. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, we might do a Dawn of the Planet of the Apes discussion.
And if you have anything to contribute to our discussions today, put in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty.
Right.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Until next time. I'm Peter Rosen. Headphones.